Alright, what's up everybody? I want to do a video today showing y'all how I made $3,500 yesterday in the market. First and foremost, if you enjoy these videos, you like the content, you want to learn how to trade, all that stuff, be sure to join my stock mentorship program. I will put the link to that in the description of this video. So let's get into it real quick. So if you take a look at SPY, you will see, we'll take the volume off. A lot of times people will tell you stuff like, hey, well, if a trend line breaks, then buy puts or buy calls or whatever. If I wish the market was that simple. We all be rich. So coming into this week or this previous week, we knew that, there clearly was downside, but we were expecting this to kind of be the downside target. You can't have downside if lows don't break. So we shorted SPY on Tuesday. Damn, did like 2,000 that day. But we never went beyond that. So if you let this play out, no other day went beyond that low point. So from that point on, we know that we have to continue to reevaluate the market. What ended up happening was you get a double inside bar setup. That's just when you have consolidation and prices just going sideways. And if you look at it on a lower time frame, those previous 2 days, you'll see Wednesday and Thursday was just all sideways. Basically, you got this little range right here. So Friday came and I took an entry at 423, and then we just rode it to the highs because I knew that it would want to take out the high point of that range. Then I also knew, thinking on the higher time frame, that if the highs of that range broke, then we'd have a breakout. So we broke out, we just rode momentum. And another way I like to describe it is the same way that I said how people want to buy puts because the trend line broke. If you look at this and think about it like this trend line broke, you got a double inside bar with a buy signal above the highs of the range. Then you're reclaiming this trend line, right? This one right here. I'll make it dotted for you so you can see what I'm saying. So what you have right here essentially is a triangle. You reclaim that triangle, then you can kind of think, okay, well, we're going to push. If you just had a false breakdown below it, then odds are you're going to probably squeeze back through to the highs of that triangle. That's kind of how I describe chart patterns. I don't really care about the chart pattern itself because I could turn all of this off and I would know that price is going to want to push to the next low volume area, which is this gap right here, right at about 439, 440. Price wants to push to the next low volume area. Price would then, beyond that, want to take out the next high point. Your next high point is here at 444. So if you can fill that gap and then reclaim that 440 area, that's what you'd be looking at. So this is my resistance area right here because you take the low point of the day before, the previous down day before the selling. You take that low point, right? So I'll bring it off. You take that low point. Let me just start it all the way over. You take that low point and then you connect it to the high point of what started the selling. So that whole thing is your resistance area. And if you look, where would that put you? Right back towards the highs of this triangular consolidation thing that you have. Whether that breaks it upside or not, I don't know. But for now, we're thinking push to the next low volume area. And these will be all of our targets going forward. As long as we hold above this old resistance area right here, which some would just call the trend line, the dotted trend line. If you hold above the trend line, you go higher. I simply say you hold above old resistance. When resistance break, it becomes support. So what you think is probably pull back and move higher. At most, you shouldn't go too far below this. But what's that, 426, 425 area? So that's just how I break down the market. So that's a quick little trade recap. I guess the one part I would add is when you have sideways price action, I call it a base. If you look up Wyckoff's theory, it'll explain the base more. When price bases on a stock basis, they're either buying or selling clearly, if you can't break lows, then they ain't selling. So if they're buying, then what has to happen? You have to move higher. These people are putting big money into this stuff. So on a stock basis, you anticipate a rather large move. So that's kind of how I describe that stuff. And that's a really small base, relatively speaking. But QQQ, you can see the base a little bit more. Now highlight the outside of it so you can see that we were sitting in this same range for like 11 days, I think it was, 11 trading days. So once you finally cleared the highs of that range up here, that's your buy signal. Where's price going next? It wants to go to your next high point. And beyond that, it wants to go to the following high point. And if you like chart patterns, which I don't necessarily care about them, you just say, oh, we're planning this channel or wedge or whatever you want to call it. You say, oh, we held the lows, so we're going back to the highs. That's kind of how you work your theory. If you had asked me to look at QQQ or what I thought about QQQ before Friday, I would have told you that we're either going here or we're going here. And I have no idea which one is going to happen. Why? Because if price is going sideways, I can't quite tell yet whether they're accumulating or distributing. Meaning I don't know if they're buying or selling. Meaning I have to wait for a signal. Sometimes you can get in a little early before the signal. This just wasn't one of those cases because I see a false break above the range and I see a false break below the range. So we just had to wait and be patient. So now you have a buy signal so long as QQQ remains above the breakout, which you can kind of say here for 360 or here for like 361.5. But as long as you get a soft pullback in here, you can expect to move higher. So that's kind of how I just look at the market in general. Put emphasis on bases and low volume areas and just know where to place your stop loss. And like I said earlier, if you enjoy this type of content, I make these types of videos for my Discord group, or my mentorship program, which is in the Discord. I make videos like this for them multiple times a week. I make recap videos like this. I make videos before the moves happen. So you can see actually here. I can't make this stuff up. Where we at? I made a video saying that I was why I just got insanely bullish. So that was on 9/27. And QQQ, look at QQQ. Look at the video. You see what I'm saying? Like, this stuff is not luck. Like, there is an actual science to it. And I don't have like a system that only works for certain people. It works, period, because I've taken time to understand the mechanics behind the market. And to me, that's just low volume areas. Price gravitates towards low volume areas, and either low volume areas hold or you rip through them. And with QQQ, as you can see here in that video, there's a ginormous low volume area right below. So when I made that video on 9/27, let me rewind time so that you can't like assume that I'm just like cherry picking. I made that video on 9/27. That's what price looked like back then. So over time, this is before I see any of this stuff. I don't even know that we're basing yet. All I know in that moment is that we are holding a low volume area. So if that low volume area continues to hold, which is what you see here, then you're going to get a strong move because this is the low volume area. See what I'm saying? Like, it's really just that's just the mechanics of the market. You held that low volume area. You can see it in the volume profile. What do you do next? You have to go through the next low volume area, which was this gap. And then obviously if you break through that gap, then that means you had accumulation right here for what, 2.5 weeks? Close to 2.5 weeks. So what next? You're going to get a strong move out of that. It's very unlikely that this is it. You're going to probably take out the next resistance point. And honestly, you can probably make it up here if the momentum is strong enough. But for now, we're just going to put our target here, up in here, and then reevaluate the situation once we get there to see how price responds to that. resistance point. So like that's how I look at the market. And like I said, I was already saying that I was getting insanely bullish because I knew that price was not flushing through the low volume area. You see what I'm saying? And this is a private video that I post all types of videos like this, watch list videos before stuff happens. I call it out and tell you the parameters. I tell you the things that have to happen for it to play out, and obviously if it doesn't happen, then it's a failed setup, and we never would have taken a trade, because if the setup ain't working, you can't get in a trade. You see what I'm saying? So if I would have said that, hey, I was extremely bullish, and then price came through and just flushed into this low volume area, then I would have been saying, hey, we coming down here, or we're coming to test the next low volume area, and then beyond that, here's your next higher volume area. So that's what the bear case would have been. And it was a point where I did not have any clue. You see what I'm saying? Because even if you look at QQQ, you say, oh, well, it broke below this trend line. That means it's gonna go down a lot. Look what happened when it broke below the trend line. Not much. Like, you fell from 360 to 352, 351. That's not a lot. Like, I mean, it's tradable for sure, don't get me wrong, but it's nothing too crazy. But that's kind of how I look at the market, man. I give all of this type of stuff. Like, I post the before, I give you the trade results. So I give you everything. And if I have a failed trade, I'll recap it. I do recap videos as well. So I do all this stuff. So make sure you join the link join my mentorship program via the link in the description of this video right here. So got any questions, hit me up in the comments, let me know. Shoot, that's about it. That's everything. Got a little analysis on what I think could come, just how I operate, how I look at the market, some of the things that I use. Obviously, like I said, if you enjoy that kind of stuff and you like that, and you would want more on like a day-to-day basis, and have, get one-on-one sessions with me, all that good stuff, then just click the link that I put in the description to join the mentorship program. So that's about it. That's everything. I'll catch y'all later.